Hey guys, Ash here from curseforward.com, and in this video, let's take a look at HTC's flagship entry for the year 2013, the HTC One, and Sony's own Xperia Z. So let's start with the build and design. Both phones are beautifully built. The HTC One has an all-metal back. It's got two plastic strips over here. On the front, we've got dual stereo speakers. You've got a 4.7-inch Super LCD 3 display that's covered by Corning Gorilla Glass 2. With the Xperia Z, you've got dragon tail glass on the front and back that is shatter resistant and shatter and scratch resistant. You've got flaps covering every port here. This means this is for the water resistance. The phone is rated IP57. This means it's water and dust resistant. The phone can be immersed in up to 1 meter of water for up to 30 minutes. Another thing worth mentioning is that the Xperia Z has really sharp edges. I've got a Spigen tempered glass on top, so it might not be really visible here, but it does have very sharp edges. So putting your phone to your ear and talking for extended periods might be a little uncomfortable. The Xperia Z houses a 5-inch TFT LCD TFT display. Sony likes to call it the reality display. Again, it's a full HD display. The Sony Xperia Z has a pixel density of 441 pixels per inch, but anything over 400, you're really not going to be able to notice it. Even no matter how hard you look at it, you're not going to be seeing a difference between both when it comes to pixel density. As far as button placements go, for the keys, the HTC One has the back and home capacitive keys. The Sony Xperia Z resorts to on-screen keys instead. So again, keep this in mind because this is a 4.7-inch display. Though the Xperia Z has a 5-inch display, there are on-screen keys taking up space. Well, when you go into the gallery or when you're viewing a picture or a movie, the keys are going to be hidden, but still, it's something to keep in mind. As far as button placements go, you've got the power button to the side and the volume rockers for the Xperia Z, and I kind of feel that's better than the placement on the HTC One. The volume rockers are to the side, and again, they are not really elevated, so at times they're hard to find and hit. And on top, you've got a power button that also houses the IR blaster. So this is possibly the worst place to put the power button, in my opinion. So every time you want to turn on the phone, you're going to have to maneuver it in your hand and then hit the power button. You cannot wake the phone any other way. So the feedback is all, again, it is not really elevated. It's really hard to find and hit at times. The Sony Xperia Z, on the other hand, has better button placements. You've got the power button over here. It's pretty, it's elevated. It's kind of easy to hit. And you've got the volume rockers. They provide good feedback and it's easy to turn on and turn off. But where Sony fails is with regards to the speaker. The speaker is at the right bottom corner. So when for a right-hander, you're going to hold the phone this way. So when you hold the phone this way, the speaker is going to be covered by your palm. So the speaker isn't really loud to start with. We'll take a closer look at the speakers when we get to the software part. So let's talk about what's under the hood. The HTC One is powered by a Snapdragon 600 processor clocked at 1.7 GHz. This is the latest top-of-the-line processor that you can get right now. The Xperia Z, on the other hand, is powered by a little older Snapdragon Pro processor clocked at 1.5 GHz. Both phones have the Adreno 320 GPU and 2 gigs of DDR2 RAM. And while the HTC One has an IR blaster, the Sony Xperia Z does give you the option of adding a microSD card. This is not available with the HTC One. As far as battery goes, the HTC One has a 2300 mAh battery, the Xperia Z a 2330 mAh battery. As you can see, the HTC One performs better when it comes to benchmarks, but in real-time usage, there's no difference between these devices. Both of them are extremely fast, snappy, very, very responsive. Apps open up really quick on both. So as far as the specs go, yes, on paper, the HTC One does have the better processor, but in real-time usage, you're not going to notice a difference. When it comes to battery life, it's a little different. Yes, the Xperia Z has a battery with a marginally higher capacity, but end of the day, with the tests that we ran, the HTC One was able to play video in a loop for about 10 hours. The Xperia Z died out in about 5.5. The biggest problem for the Xperia Z is its display. The display consumes a lot of battery. say for example, when I use these phones for calls, every hour I was on the phone, the HTC One dropped charge by about 6%, whereas the Xperia Z dropped charge only by about 5%. So what that means is with the screen off, the Xperia Z actually performs better when it comes to battery. It is the screen that's the biggest drain. But unfortunately, when you're buying a flagship phone, when you're buying the top of the line, the most powerful phone in the market today, you are going to want to game on it. You're going to watch movies on it. The screen is very important. You're going to keep it turned on. So when it comes to battery life, again, as far as idle battery drain goes, the Xperia Z did manage to do a little better than the HTC One. Overall, I'd say the HTC One is better when it comes to battery management, because idle battery, both phones managed to get me through a day, but with the HTC One, I wasn't really worried about it. I wasn't really looking at the battery constantly. With the Xperia Z, on the other hand, I did have to keep track of the battery. And for battery optimization, both phones have a mode have their own battery management modes. The Xperia Z calls it the stamina mode. With the HTC One, you have the power saver. So with the power saver, you can conserve the CPU power, reduce screen brightness, turn off vibration, put the data connection to sleep when the screen is off. But whereas with the stamina mode here, you can control individual apps, which ones consume data or have a data connection when your screen is off and so on. And this does make a difference. Let's talk a little bit about the software. Both the HTC One and the Sony Xperia Z run Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean out of the box with their custom UIs on top. While HTC has Sense, the Sony Xperia Z has its Xperia UI. The lock screen on the HTC One is a lot better. You can access, you can just pull up apps quickly and launch them directly. You can also go into settings, personalize, lock screen style, and you get multiple types of lock screens. There is one widget on each lock screen that you can choose from. Whereas with the Xperia Z, you've got the standard lock screen. You can either access your music controls, or you can quickly go into camera. That's pretty much all the lock screen can do. But then again, with the user interface, once you get past the lock screen, the HTC One takes you directly to Blink feed. So this kind of pulls in stuff from your Twitter, your Facebook, also news feeds that you subscribe to, and so on, based on your interests. The problem with Blink feed is that you cannot turn it off if you don't want to. Just tap and hold anywhere, and you can set a different home screen as your default home screen, but you will not be able to turn Blink feed off. With the Xperia Z, on the other hand, again, tap and hold, and you get access to all your home screens. You can delete entire home screens, set new home screens, or add new panes. You can also add apps, widgets, wallpapers, or choose from quite a few themes that are given. With the HTC One, again, you can add widgets, apps, and shortcuts right from here. As far as talking a little bit about the buttons, you've got the back and home capacitive buttons here. The home button does triple duty. Tap it once, and it takes you to your home screen. Double tap, and it opens up multitasking. As you can see, 9 open apps at the same time. With the Xperia Z, you've got a dedicated button for open apps. Tap it, and you can see 4. You can also see other apps by just scrolling over here. The Sony Xperia Z also provides you with something called small apps. So you can also add extra small apps from the Play Store. These are basically similar to the Samsung pop-up apps. So you've got the Notes app. It's just going to stay on screen when you move about. You can also say go into the Play Store, and it's still going to be on. No matter where you are, the small apps are still going to be on. So that's pretty good. Again, from the open apps, you can just swipe to close it. With the HTC One, just swipe up to close. And I feel that the 9 apps that it shows over here is a little bit of an advantage. To access Google Now, just tap on the home button and pull up, and you access Google Now. With the HTC One, you have to tap and hold the home button, and it launches Google Now. As far as the app drawers are concerned, the HTC One gets you a vertically scrollable app drawer. With the Xperia Z, it's the regular pages. You can also, again, both give you options to set your own order, alphabetical, most used, most recently installed. With the Xperia Z, you also get a most used option. Well, both phones have solid music players. You can pick songs by artists, albums, songs, playlists, genres, podcast folders. With the Sony Xperia Z, again, you've got tracks, albums, artists, playlists, sends me channels that kind of detects what kind of song it is, as in between evening, energetic, relax, upbeat. It kind of senses it and sorts it accordingly. You've got friends music. You can pull music off social media, and you've got your favorites. So as far as other options go, let me just go into settings for a bit. You've got Clear Audio Plus on the Sony Xperia Z, and you've got Beats Audio for the HTC One. As far as the audio playback goes, it's really amazing on the HTC One. Both phones also update album art by their own, and let me just show you how different the audio quality is. It's just amazing on the HTC One. And as far as clarity from the speakers go, the HTC One just blows the Xperia Z away totally. And as far as audio output via earphones go, again, the HTC One does phenomenally better. There is no competition here. It just blows the Xperia Z away once again. Both phones have competent car modes as well. As far as the gallery goes, I kind of feel that Sony utilizes the real estate on screen, the amount of pixels available better than HTC. You've got 5 thumbnails this way and about 7 thumbnails this way, so you can take a look at a lot more of what's happening or what's available. And the recently taken picture, or the last one, is shown a little bigger. With the HTC One, you've got a scrollable list here, but at one time you can only take a look at 8 thumbnails. And the first one over here is kind of like a compilation. Let me just show that, of all the other pictures in that set. So say for example, let's talk about Zoe in a bit. Zoe is basically a camera mode where you take a picture, and the HTC One saves 20 frames and a 3-second video. So these Zoes are incorporated into this compilation. You can choose from a preset selection of audio tracks and effects. So while we're in the gallery, let's also talk a little bit about the display. So the HTC One that I'm using in this video, it's got some display issues. I'm sending this phone back. The display is not as bright as it normally is. All right, the HTC One's display is a lot brighter than the Xperia Z. The Xperia Z has bad viewing angles, so when you just move it a little bit, you can see that things tend to get faded out. Let me just pull the Xperia Z closer here. So things start to get washed out once the viewing angles change a little bit. You can see the change. Things start to get a little wider and washed out. And that is not the case with the HTC One. The HTC One has amazing viewing angles. I'm not able to show it here because of the issue that this particular unit has. But you can basically check any video reviewer's video, and you can see that the HTC One is brighter. As far as video playback goes, the Xperia Z plays back pretty much any codec thrown at it without any issues. Let me just reduce the volume here. So there are no issues. This is a full HD video of a tutorial that I made. It plays it back without any issues at all. Just like with the gallery, the Mobile Bravia Engine 2 is at work here and improves the quality to an extent. Whereas with the HTC One, there are some codec issues, like MKV files and some DivX files do not play. But then again, you can always get extra, as in these kind of errors pop up. You can always get a different player, a third-party player for videos. Again, the HTC One does not have a separate video player. The videos have to be played from the the gallery instead. For productivity, the HTC One offers Polaris Office and a PDF viewer, whereas the Xperia Z offers Office Suite, but you need to pay for it if you want to edit with it. Again, keep in mind the HTC One also gives you 25 gigs of free Dropbox storage for 2 years. Well, let's talk a little bit about the camera. One thing to note is the first time you load up the camera on the Xperia Z, there is a it lags a bit. It takes a little bit of time. It's instant. It's faster compared to the Xperia Z on the HTC One. But once you load it up for the first time, there are no issues loading it up. As long as it's in memory, it just loads up pretty quick. So the Sony Xperia Z has a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera that uses Sony's XMORE RS sensor and a 2.2 megapixel front-facing camera. So there are quite a few options. The superior auto mode, with the superior auto mode, the camera automatically switches between 13 to 36 different presets depending on what it is that you're trying to take a picture of. Let me just show you an example. That's superior auto. I've got a Sony memory card here, and it should switch to the macro mode. There you see. So you pull up text, it switches to the text mode and so on. So, and then you've got the normal mode, video camera, burst mode, picture effects, sweep panorama, scene selection, front camera, front video. So the front camera can also do 1080p videos at 30 frames per second. One thing worth mentioning about the video camera here is, that it can only shoot 1 megapixel pictures while shooting video. That is kind of disappointing because a video in itself is 1920 by 1080. That's 2 megapixels. So a 1 megapixel picture while taking video is almost nothing. I could rather use a screen grab from the video that might look better. You also have HDR mode for videos as well as photos. You've got the different scenes to choose from, and the LED flash, and your regular set of settings. The LED flash on the HTC One is noticeably more powerful. So let me just turn on the LED flash just to show you. So there you see the flash is a lot more powerful on the HTC One. Again, while shooting video on the Xperia Z, you cannot turn flash on or off while in the middle of shooting video. With the HTC One, in the middle of shooting video, you can turn off flash or turn it on. That's an added advantage. The HTC One, on the other hand, has a 4 megapixel rear camera and a 2.1 megapixel front-facing camera. So with the HTC One, you've got something called the Zoe. With Zoe mode on, when you take a picture, what it does is it captures 20 frames and shoots a 3-second video. This is a Zoe that I shot while I was reviewing the HTC One. So this is when I press the capture button for a second before the capture and 2 seconds after it takes the video. So right now we can hit edit, and you've got quite a few options. You've got different effects, you've got frames, retouch options. So over here with the retouch option, you can select a sequence shot. Sequence shot is kind of like the trauma shot on the Galaxy S4. So you can combine different frames together and you can have multiple instances of the same subject on screen. So it doesn't really work well with this particular shot, but it's usually useful. And you also get, you can also remove object in case there's someone who walks by in the background or something. You've got more options like skin smoothing, lighting, blah blah blah. Pretty much quite a lot of options to play around with. So guys, as far as performance goes, under low light, you can see that the HTC One outperforms the Xperia Z quite considerably. When you zoom in, you can see that the HTC One's camera does retain a lot more detail. Similarly, when we move on to better lighting conditions, you can see that the Xperia Z does better. Zoom in and you can see the Xperia Z retains a lot more detail. That's because end of the day, the HTC One's camera is 4 megapixel. So the thinking here, behind this for HTC is that generally when we shoot a picture on our camera phones, it's not professional. We don't expect professional quality. It's something that you're gonna either post onto Facebook or share with your friends on your phone, or even if you're gonna transfer it to your PC and check it out. It's still, your most monitors today are 1080p, so that's about 2 megapixel is what you're going to be seeing. So the thinking here for HTC is that at the cost of bright light, at the cost of extra detail that you might not use in brightly lit pictures, get better pictures under low light, because often we end up taking pictures indoors. The lighting might not be the best. So I kind of go with HTC on this one. I kind of feel that the HTC One's camera might be a tad bit more useful than the Xperia Z's, but then again, that's personal preference. Another thing, the next thing I wanted to talk about is call quality. Well, the earpiece, the sound out of the earpiece on the Xperia Z is really low. It's not that it's going to be a problem if you're indoors. No, if you're in a crowd, if you have some kind of background noise, if you're stuck in traffic or something, it's going to be a little difficult to hear the person at the other end of the line. Not the case with the HTC One. The sound quality is pretty good. The call quality is pretty good. So in conclusion, the HTC One does match the Xperia Z in terms of looks. It's got better internals, no micro SD card slot though. It does better than the Xperia Z in terms of battery life. It's got a better screen, better viewing angles, overall a better screen. The software is again comparable, and the camera, in my opinion, is a tad bit more useful. So unless and until water resistance is something that's very important to you, I'd say the HTC One is a no-brainer here. Again, as far as water resistance goes, I understand that Sony needs a USP, a unique selling point to, advertise the phone, and, they're trying to do something good, something new here with water resistance. I understand that, but then again, the water resistance here comes at a cost. Yes, I do understand the cost. I do understand the need for the flaps and so on. That's fine. And with the flaps, Sony did a great job. Say, for example, even the HTC Butterfly or Dry DNA came with splash resistance. It had a flap covering the micro USB port. That was really hard to open. But that's not the case with the Xperia Z. The flaps are very well designed. They can be easily opened. I barely have any nails, and I'm able to pull it out without any issues at all. So that's not the problem. The trade-off here is speaker quality and earphone quality, and earpiece quality, and that is something. The earpiece is basic for the phone. The speaker is something that's becoming basic these days. So something that 99% of the people, 100% of the people are going to use against water resistance, which might be useful in say 5-10% of the cases. You might end up dropping your phone or whatever. Worst case, 10% of the cases you might need water resistance. The trade-off here, I feel, is a bit too costly when it comes to the Sony Xperia Z. And again, the screen is really bad. It's not something that you'd expect to find in a flagship device, especially something that's been touted as the best of Sony. Sony has great TVs, amazing displays, and it's a little disappointing that this is the screen that made its way to the Xperia Z. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the Xperia Z, I'm wrong about the Xperia Z, and do you think that it's the better phone? Or do you agree with me? Let me know in the comment section. I'd really love to know your thoughts. So if you guys want to pick up either of these phones, you can do it from Amazon.com. The direct links are in the description. And most importantly, before you go, if you're watching this on full screen, just come back to windowed mode and click the like and subscribe buttons. Thanks a lot. I will be coming out with more comparisons and reviews, and if you have any video requests for me, or if you just want to stay updated on my latest updates and videos, the direct link to my social networks, and that's Google plus Twitter and Facebook, are there in the description. So hit me up and let me know what you think about the video. If you have any criticism for me, if you have any suggestions, if you think I should have focused on something a little more, or I spend too much time on something, just let me know. I'm learning. I'm trying to improve all the time. So help me out here. Let me know your thoughts. Give me your feedback. It's always appreciated and welcome. I'm looking forward to it. So that's pretty much it for this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you guys liked it. Till next time, this is Ash here from cursforward.com, calling it like I see it. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye now.